welcome to County Fair on Waycross Community Media. Today we are going to get to talk in our studio with County Commissioner Denise Driehaus and Program Coordinator of the Hamilton County Commission on Women and Girls, Mary Mounty, and Lucretia Braxton, who is a photographer, graphic designer, watercolor artist, digital marketing strategist. I don't think I have everything there, but we're going to get to talk about that Commission on Women and Girls today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, glad to be here.
First, let's start with you, Commissioner Driehaus, because this is your vision. This commission came out of your project. So how did that start?
So when I got elected in 2017, we started the Commission on Women and Girls, and Todd Portune and Chris Monzel were my colleagues, and they voted in favor of creating it. And so it's 20 women and 10 girls, always, that work on issues that are defined by them. And so the original group talked a lot about pay equity, about social mobility, safety, self-identity, and so those became the buckets of work that we have continued to use as we've moved through. So we started in 17, we're now in 2022, so we've had a couple iterations of this. But you know, we're starting to become a more mature group and commission where we're building off the work year after year. And so this year, we had a lot of accomplishments, and I know Lucretia's going to talk about this, but pay equity is one of them. And so she'll talk about kind of how we have been able to build year after year on the work. So the girls are generally high school girls. There are 10 of them. They rotate off every year, and then the women have 2-year terms to provide some continuity.
And how do the girls get connected? You have girls from different high schools all over the county. How do they find out about it?
I will say the most important thing about the commission is the diversity on the commission. And so geographic diversity is very important, racial diversity, religious diversity, age diversity has been really important. And so the girls get hooked in oftentimes through a counselor or through friends that have served on the commission that have had a good experience and like, oh, you need to apply. And so we almost always have more applications than we know what to do with, which is nice. But I would encourage people to apply because it is, I think it's been really useful to some of the girls as they have now moved into other situations where they want to have a voice and they want to speak on behalf of a certain issue. And I think the commission experience has helped them gain some confidence.
Because you've gotten to see some of the progression of where it started in 2017 to where it is now, what are some of the early projects that you watched them take to fruition?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this on. So first of all, it's just been an honor. I just came on in December of this past year, so I'm rather new. This is a position that, again, was born out of the commission recognizing that they wanted someone to help lead this project, that it was becoming more all-encompassing and needed a little more oversight so that Denise and her staff weren't having to do it themselves. So it's been, like I said, my honor to take this on. And through that, what I've been able to see is really some projects that, you know, have started several years ago and then this past year were really kind of brought to light. One of those being also around menstrual equity. So this issue of places that are either public or within the educational system not providing free period products. And so this is an issue that was really brought up by the girls initially, and so that came from several commissions ago, my understanding, who really said, gave some, you know, really hard examples of how they didn't have access to that, and recognized that this was a problem for many of their peers. So even if it hadn't happened to them, that they recognized that there were girls out there who, you know, weren't able to succeed as well as they'd like to, or weren't able to have the same opportunities because this was something that was hindering them. So, so we worked as a commission this past year to create a resolution around encouraging schools in our region to provide free menstrual products with the help of some partnering organizations that we named in our report. And then really as the convener, you know, to try and connect both of those entities together to see how they can work together to help solve this issue for our community.
In the county.
And the county,
And the
yeah.
county,
Right.
Because the county, talk about the,
Oh, yeah, so,
the county piece, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like most things, I think what we have recognized through the commission is saying, if we're gonna ask others to do this, we as Hamilton County really need to step up and take ownership of this as well and need to be on board. So as this initiative was gearing up, we went to our county administrator, Jeff Aludo, and proposed the idea that Hamilton County be one of the first adopters to start providing free period products. And so that is actually something that is coming to fruition. So that's going to be available at all of the, at least at the beginning, downtown public spaces. So that includes Jobs and Family Services, our courthouse, the administration building. And so again, recognizing that this is a basic function of life of half of our population, and for women and girls to feel like they can be successful in pursuing whatever they need to pursue, whether it's going to court, whether it's meeting with your person at Jobs and Family Services. You need to be able to have access to period products just like you do toilet paper, just like all of these other basic necessities of life, to be able to function at a high level and be able to provide for your family.
Now, Lucretia, you were working on a different project. Tell me how you became part of the commission and what your project has been.
Yes, so I got involved with the commission through my friend Lauren Bishop, who was also on the pay equity team the previous year. And so she said, I think you would be great for this. This is right up your alley. So I went on ahead and applied, and I thought it was also just a great way to not just complain about what's going on in the city, in the county, but to actually be able to have an impact as a woman and as a Black woman, and in a county where sometimes you may not feel like you have a voice. And what an opportunity with a commission of 3 women sitting on the commission. I mean, it's historic, number one. But number two, to be able to be a part of this commission, and then I decided to join the pay equity subcommittee. And I did it because of all of the challenges that I have had dealing with salary, negotiating, and what a better way to have an impact with that. So coming into the commission, when I did, they had been working on a pay equity pledge, which they actually had passed through the commission the previous year, if I'm not mistaken. And we were now at the point to where it's like, okay, so our resolution's been passed. We need some action. Denise is like, we're ready to go. And we're like, okay, so we're gonna do this thing. Denise's like, we're ready to go. And we're like, okay, so we're gonna do this thing over here. So, you know, we've been ready to go. And we're like, so it's like time to go. And so now it was, we need to get this signed. So now it was, the pledge is built. Let's go on ahead and put the pledge together and start putting it out there. And what a better time to do it than when women are starting to be more vocal about pay equity, what they're getting paid, actually being able to share numbers. And I was a part of an organization where we talk money. There's no point in us getting to that point of equity if we're not talking money. And what was the biggest blessing for me on the committee was that it wasn't just what we were bringing to the committee, it's what the girls brought to us. And so us hearing from them, their challenges at 15, 16, 17, already with pay equity. And an example of that is one of the members was working at a local restaurant. What were all the restaurants doing the past few months? Putting out these signs, oh, starting pay, $15 an hour, $18 an hour. Well, she was making $10 or $11, went to her manager and said, hey, so can I make that money too? Oh, well, you know, we can't. Well, no. And she's like, but everybody you're gonna hire in from this point is going to be making $3 to $4 more than her, and she's expected to train them. So so we're all sitting at the table like, so what are you gonna do? No. And so we sat at a commission meeting and told her, here are the things that you can do. First off, do you wanna work there? And here's some things you can do to try to see if they will give you a raise. So she comes back the next month, how'd it go? And he told me that he could give me $1 more. And we said, so you're gonna go back again and say, so that sign out there, something's not right here. And I can go down the street and literally make this amount working at another place. And so I don't know what happened after that, but we understood at that point how important this commission was, how important this initiative was, and how important it was for us to get that pledge signed by so many organizations in the city. We had a lot of support.
Right. Because I know the county already made that commitment.
Yes.
We did a pay equity study probably a year or two in, but that was, and as Mary has said, we have to lead by example. We have to be honest about what the recommendations are. And if we're not willing to do it ourselves, then that's not legit in my mind. So early on, we did a pay equity study at the county, and then we implemented a pay equity policy. We're 98 cents on the dollar at the county, which I was very,
Unheard of.
I was
Yes,
very
that's
glad about.
amazing, yeah.
But we've got a little ways to go. But the idea is not only to have done the study and put into place a policy, but then we've got to every few years take a look. And how are we doing? Are we still 98 cents on the dollar? Have we moved up or down? And so we have been in this space for a while, but what happened this time was that, yes, we were ready to go, thank you. But we had a pay equity pledge signing event, which would not have happened without these two. But it elevated not only the work of the Commission on Women and Girls, but the county and the partnerships that we have in private and public sectors to say, please join us in this. And we had a fantastic response. And I'll let these guys were more involved in that than I was. But I went to the event. We've never done an event like that, and it was a very outward-facing expression of the power of the Commission on Women and Girls, and it was good fun. Well, and one other thing we did at the county early on was say that you cannot ask a potential employee that's interviewing their pay history. Because right away, women are a disadvantage because we generally get paid less than men. So at the county, and others have adopted this, we do not ask for salary history. So that's an important step. I mean, they seem like small steps, but that's really an important thing to do. But the pay equity event, again, was this great, and we should talk about it because it was so great. And I think both of you should talk about who attended and what that meant.
Tell me what that looked like and where it was
Yeah,
held.
so it was held at the Downtown Public Library.
Okay.
And so this was, again, really a brainchild out of the Pay Equity Committee. But the idea was to have, kind of a public rallying cry. So not only just to silently send this out to folks and promote that they make this commitment, but to publicly do it, right, in front of their peers and in front of potentially the media who would have been there. And then to be able to be held accountable to that, right? So we know that people really do best sometimes when their feet are to the fire and they know that others are watching, right? So, so we had a great opportunity to invite, members from around the community. This was organizations, again, we really wanted to have organizations large and small, but this is not just for the Fortune 500 companies in the region. This is all the way, down to privately owned personal businesses where you have, 10 employees, but it can be, the same things apply if women, and specifically women of color, are not making, what their peers are making. So it's, we were happy to have over 44 signers. So in attendance that day, I think we had like 30 maybe. And so we made it much like a college signing day where the attendees, Commissioner Driehaus and the other commissioners were invited to attend and talk about what this meant for the county. And the county was there to sign as well, just to make a public, stance in front of all of their peers. As well as the city of Cincinnati was able to be there and sign as well. But so we had folks from all the way down to FC Cincinnati and the Reds, down to small hair salons and consulting companies who were able to be there. The zoo, the Parks Department, Mad Tree Brewing. We had, just a real plethora of and diverse.
All the icons of Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Urban League was
Yeah,
there,
Urban League
United
was
Way.
there.
I mean, we
Yes.
really did hit, and they were for profit. And our smallest company, I don't know if you realize this, was a company called Resolve. And I happen to know his name is Scott, and so we invited him. He's got 5 employees, I think, 1 woman in the mix, and she's the highest paid employee. I said, "Whoop, you're in. You're in. We're getting so he came, and he was really thrilled to be there with all, as you say, kind of iconic members of this community, and he was there too because we really wanted it to be everybody.
And you know what was really special? His wife came and brought their daughter. And she was able to be there to see this commitment from the community I think she was, in grade school, but like what a wonderful experience to establish and start this discussion at a really young age around why this is so important and, build that into her script as she continues to kind of move through the world, so.
And one of the things that I loved about that day and that experience was being able to look and see the girls also attend or either
Yes.
bring their parents with them and just their excitement in it because it really helped them to feel like they had accomplished something too, because they did. And what I also loved was having them see people who could be their potential employers one day, putting faith in them and in this process and in believing that, yes, you are worthy. Because sometimes it's just that little thing that a girl needs to hear as she's growing into a woman. And to know that I can be the best that I am and I'm going to get paid for it makes a huge difference. It was a big deal. And it was a big deal for me to personally see large and small organizations there. It's really easy to expect small organizations to show up and sign something like that. But it was huge. I'll never forget when Mary sent me a message and she was like, FCC is signing. I said, we got a sports team? What? we got the newest sports team that's really got people going crazy in the city. But that's a big deal to have employers that are traditionally seen as a man's sport where men belong to say, we are going to pay our women equally for the work that they do. It's huge, the people who showed up. And to be there. That was a big deal. And I was very happy to see a lot of people there and really thank them for just coming and supporting. Because I said, this isn't just you doing this for us, doing this for the commissioner, doing this for the county. You're doing it for these girls that are here. That is huge, what you just did today.
And what we're committed to, I think, as this commission is not only, that this was really the first step. Really, the first step was creating the commitment, right?
Yes,
The
yes.
second step was we were going to have this public signing day, and I think we're looking to what do we build onto next? And I think the opportunities, right, are endless, but we know really maybe the next step is learning, right? And
Yes.
teaching,
Yes.
again, through a collaborative effort. We are maybe not the experts, but we know that we can connect to the experts in our community to share what are our best practices. How do you put strategies in place to look at the data of your organization to see what you are paying your folks and how do you stratify that and then pull out from that, things that you can do differently to make it more equitable.
If a business is watching this and saying, oh, I missed that.
Yes.
That sounds exciting. I'd still like to sign that.
Yeah.
Can they contact someone and say, we want to sign
They
that pledge
sure
too?
can, yeah, they can, oh gosh, they sure can.
wanna
Yeah,
make
so-
sure.
Yeah,
They can
so
indeed. Yep.
they can actually go to the county's website,
Okay.
which is hamiltoncountyohio.gov.
Okay.
And /HCCWG, that is Hamilton County Commission on Women and Girls. And on that page will be an introduction certainly to the commission, but we'll lead them to the pay equity commitment and all the information around that. And then they certainly can get my information from there as well.
And the next steps that you'll take with this project, where are you planning to go next for that?
Yeah, so
Well, some of that depends
Yeah,
on
go
the
ahead.
commission, right? Because
Yes.
this commission is intentionally set up so that the women and girls that serve on it drive the work. And so while we have built year after year, there's always been, has to be a buy-in of the new commissioners about the work that we're doing and how they want to advance it. And so this next commission will continue to work to get more and more employers and nonprofits and business leaders to sign on. But really, it's the work of the members of the committee to design that and figure out how they want to do it. Mary is the program coordinator and the godsend to the Commission on Women and Girls, as you alluded to before, because without Mary, we struggle to get the work done, to kind of put into practice what we all have an idea for, right? Because we're all volunteers. We meet on Saturday, volunteerish. We meet on Saturday mornings for a few hours, and that's where the work gets done. But Mary has really elevated what we've been trying to do. So we will have a new commission seated within a month or two. We're accepting applications at the moment, yay. And so then they will be introduced to what we have done so far, and they will carry the ball forward.
Now, let me talk a little bit about what the commission looks like. It's how many women altogether and how many girls? Do you
20
see?
women and 10 girls.
And so half of those women will stay on and half of them will cycle out. So for the women, is it 2 years?
Yes.
It's a 2-year commitment. For the girls, it's only one. And only because if someone's thinking of applying, these are the sort of things, you know,
Yeah.
okay, well, how long is this?
Sure.
It's
And
synced up with the school year.
everyone who is interested in this, they don't have to know a counselor that recommended them. They don't have to have a friend that was on
Absolutely
it.
not, no.
Just like all of the commissions for the county, there are applications on the county site. When do applications get turned in for this? When are they due?
Yeah, so the due date is June 17th.
Okay.
So, in just a few short weeks. But they can, again, go to the website and download that, or they can contact me at mary.mowney@hamilton-co.org. And I'd be happy to send it to them. But yeah, in the application, it will give them some information around the time commitment that is expected to be a part of that. So to Commissioner Dreehouse, it is one Saturday a month from 9:30 to noon. We typically meet at a really central location that we hope is somewhere that people can make it. So that's a few hours in the morning, and then once they are put onto their subcommittee, which is really the topic areas that they will address, they have some hours that are expected for them to participate in that committee's work. So, but it is, like we've said, it's just an opportunity for them to get exposure to women from all over the county, girls from all over the county, girls that may not look like them, they may not have ever had exposure to, and just this idea of diversity of thought, right? That these may be ideas or topics they've never discussed. And have an opportunity to really have open and honest conversations with their peers around, things that are really kind of critical to our community.
And it's really important too that girls know that you can have a voice early on. There's a lot that I learned being a part of this commission that I did not know that girls were going through once they hit a certain age. And this is because of some of the other subcommittees where, we all kind of share what we're going to do or what we came up with at the end of that Saturday meeting. And I know there were a few times where I was like, stop, wait, what did you say? That's happening right now. Girls can't do it. So you understand the importance of the work that we are doing, because you don't realize how it impacts someone until it's you or it's someone that you know. And I feel now, simply because of the diversity of the people, I mean, we have judges on here. We have people who work in the court system. And we have people who work in small businesses, and the entrepreneurs, the students are ridiculously diverse. I mean, that they are super smart. If any of them came in shy, they sure were not shy when we presented our proposals at the end. And they were speaking also. And to see them step up, and it isn't the women taking over and the girls are there to learn from us. We really learn from them, and we're excited for them, and we celebrate them. And some of the girls have said it feels like they have 20 women who are just cheering them on. And they now also have resources. We're teaching them networking early. So, I mean, what this commission has done for me is amazing. It is, and anyone who decides to join, if they're even thinking about, oh, I don't know, you should still apply. There are always ways to get involved, and it's
Sounds
really
amazing.
good.
Just as an opportunity for, like you said, not just the girls,
Yes.
for the grown-ups. And even the women that I talked to that day said the same thing, that they weren't just mentoring the teens. The teens were also educating them right back.
It's reciprocal.
And can you think of a particular kind of light bulb moment where you really saw something impact someone, or you saw a member of the commission, whether it was one of the girls or one of the women or yourself, think, that was powerful. I did not expect that to happen. I did not expect this to come out of this commission.
We had early on a teenager, she was a student at Seton High School, and we were talking about these subcommittees. This is very early on. I think this was one of our first meetings, and she talked a lot about mental health, and the women were like, this is before COVID, And we were like, what again? And she said, we need resources for high school kids for mental health services. She said, I have a sister who struggles with mental health. And she went into the story. And I think the girls were like nodding, like, oh yeah, we see that. Yeah.
Yes.
The women were like, whoa, wait a minute, what is happening out there? Like, as you said, it is a bit of a light bulb moment when you say, whoa, I didn't realize. That year we focused on mental health for girls and did a lot of work around that. And this girl, I love this kid. Her name was Maddie. She was a senior. And so and we had not synced up with the school year at that point. We learned that lesson. But she had gone away to OU for college. She came back the night we did the report and joined us and did her piece and did her presentation because it meant so much to her to have a voice behind mental health access for girls. And we were like, go on, right? So it was one of those times, and there have been many of those moments, but this one, she was so moved by the not the attention we were giving her, but the listening that was happening to what she was having to say, and she did find her voice. It was really something.
That's very
fantastic.
powerful.
Yeah.
Well, and would you like to give the example of who you just got a text from?
Yeah, so we have another girl who is just testified in front of Congress a couple weeks ago, and it's all over the news, and I'm like, oh, what is she? And so I texted her. I said, oh my God, I'm so proud of you, and I said, go on, you look great, you sound great, you're doing a great job. I'm just really proud. And she texted back and said, my role on the commission really helped me move into the space where I can be this person, right? Where I can, have a voice in the community. I'm like, oh my gosh, so I shared it with this, and I will share it at the next iteration of this, just because I don't think any of us realize how this is impacting the girls that are serving on the commission. And this kid is going places, and it's just fun to watch.
Do you watch them like those are my kids?
Oh, absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, you kind of, it's like, oh yeah, go on, Yeah.
So fantastic.
And they do gain their voice.
Yeah.
If they hovered around each other, because again, it's just 10 of them. And you're coming into a room where women, it's like, oh my God, these are judges and these are business, but to see how we know how to step back so that they can rise up. And seeing them do that, where it's like, oh, so would you like to go on ahead and present it? It's like, no, you've got this. And we shut up because they need to know that their voice matters. And to see them do that, you see it from the first day we meet. That end date, they're introducing you to their parents, or they're introducing us to friends, or they've got friends who've come to celebrate them. So it really is life-changing for these girls.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Maybe the biggest thing you do for them is to step back and let them.
And listen.
Let them
That's
lead,
amazing.
Yeah.
When do you get to have that happen to you when you're a teenager?
Right.
Not often.
No.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Well, and just to another point I was going to say was this opportunity to understand and have a behind-the-scenes look of local politics and how much that really does play into policy that's made at a local level that really can affect who you are, right? So I think through the media and through just what you see on your phone, it's national headlines all the time. So you really, I think for a kid growing up right now, and even for women, that politics does not seem local. It seems like it's so far removed and only in Washington, and I can't have an impact on things that are going to directly affect myself or my family. And so this opportunity to really see how county government really can really affect the amount of money that are paid into the services that you're might be receiving, or all of those things, the resources you can be connected to. So I think just that opportunity for them to have access to understand how those things work together and who is in partnership together is just an opportunity that I did not have as a kid, and I love seeing that available.
Have you had any other entities come in and look and say, hey, what are you doing? This is amazing.
We had this year again.
Okay.
It's because we're more forward facing this year. We have been so busy building and doing the work internally in the past. I think we have forgotten to say, oh, nobody knows what we're doing. And we need to be a little bit more forward-facing and external. And so this year, the Pay Equity Pledge was really the exercise in that. And so it helped us gain some exposure. And because of that, we have had some folks say, hey, what's going on over there? Yeah, and the city of Cincinnati, for one, who's come to us and said, hey, what are you doing and how can we partner with you in that work? And others, right?
Yeah, and just, I think gave us also the opportunity to, for me, and just out of naivete, that I reached out to Cleveland and said, gosh, the city of Cleveland, I heard that you passed a period product resolution where you were providing this free in all of your public spaces. Can you give me some more information on how you did that and what all research did you put into it so that I could take that information, share it with our commission, and they were extremely interested to hear that we're doing this down here. Columbus is doing it through a partnership between their school system and a vendor in Columbus around providing free period products to all of their schools. So it is, we're starting to see some real connections and some themes of, our very large metropolitan areas, but certainly things that affect people outside of the metropolitan areas, right? Those who are seeking services across the counties that there's effect. So, it's just been an interesting, and I'm looking forward to figuring out what are those other kind of opportunities to collaborate and share best practices from across the state.
I'm really excited to be able to help share some of that information. I'm looking forward to continue to follow. I saw the very beginning of the discussion about the menstruation products and making sure that was, so to get to see more of that. And now I'm getting to see the next project, the Pay Equity Pledge. I can't wait to see the next steps and the next commissions, because each one is a unique group of women. And I just love that we get to, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And for coming to the studio today.
They do all kind of take on their own personalities. Each commission is a little different than the one before. And so that's fun to watch. And you met, I don't know how many of them but I know you were there for one of our ceremonies, and you get to get a feel for these women and girls, and it's fun. I mean, and each one's different. And so that's why it's so important to let the group move at their own pace, decide on some of what their priorities are, so that we're not dictating anything, we're facilitating that work on behalf of the women and girls. And so we have some structure built in, but it really is a product of the actual members.
I have been, is there anything else that you want to make sure people know about this commission?
Yeah. So again, the
Applications
deadline, I was just going to say, the deadline for the application is June 17th.
Yes.
And certainly if you have any questions, my email again is mary.maune, spelled MAUNE, at hamilton-co.org. So people can reach out to me with any questions that they have about the commission or about any of the topics that we're addressing. And if they, just want to know more. Yeah.
Or get the report, it's online as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and you
The
brought a
most recent
copy.
report.
So
I
you
did.
held that up so we can see what it looks like.
Yeah,
But this
sure.
is online as a PDF, right?
Yes,
that
so this
people can
is
look at
the report that is a result of this commission's work that outlines not only all of their research that went into their recommendations, but the resolutions themselves and the recommendations that were put forth, and then the next steps, what they're recommending to the next commission to do or focus on.
And I wanted to make sure we mentioned that because if you go on the website, you're going to find out a lot more details than we covered. And so we just talked about a couple projects and a couple recommendations. There's a lot more work that
There's
you
a
have
lot
done in
more
this
work.
commission.
Yeah.
There's a lot
So
more
it's definitely
work,
worth going to check that out. I know I haven't looked at this year's, but I have looked at one of the previous years, and there's just a lot of, like you said, research, consideration, and it's really impressive to take a look at. And that gets presented to you and the commissioners when they're complete every year.
And yes, and it's always in the late spring. And so far, all the recommendations have been adopted unanimously. So I do want to thank my fellow commissioners, both in the past that helped establish the Commission on Women and Girls and the current who are supportive of the Commission on Women and Girls, because without my colleagues, none of this passes, right? None of it makes any difference. And so we've enjoyed a lot of support.
And that, you're right, that's, otherwise you're just meeting and making lists but the
Right.
lists become things that are approved and worked on and
actionable.
enacted.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, I love that. Is there anything you would like to add before we wrap?
For anyone considering joining, it's a commitment that's worth it. So it isn't, I have never felt as if, oh God, I gotta go. It was, I'm looking forward to going. This is gonna be great. And it was just gonna be great to see everyone else, to see the girls, and just to see everyone get excited about what they're doing, because you really feel not only like what you're doing matters, but you can actually see it in action. And having the girls, come back and tell us what they're sharing with their classmates and the impact it has on them, how they are now learning how to find resources or telling us about resources they wish they had. And it's like, oh, well, this is at our school. We can have our counselor talk with your counselor. And so it's just an amazing experience for everyone all around. You will not regret it at all, and it's a great time.
Gosh, they're networking even if it's not on the actionable items there. They're just networking amongst each other.
That's
right,
fantastic.
yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you again for coming in.
Well, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your
you.
time. And I'm going to thank you for watching, because that means you want to stay connected with what's happening in Hamilton County. And we'll see you next time.